Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. It's time to discuss the secret lives of Ryan and Gypsy no one is talking about.
Ryan Anderson has spoken out for the first time since he was blindsided by Gypsy Rose Blanchard leaving him for her ex-fiancé, as he tells followers to stay tuned for his version of events.
I just want to thank everybody for the support. It's been great. I'm just living my life, guys. Y'all will see what really happened on Lifetime. We're filming a lot.
He hints in his first TikTok that he has more receipts to post over the Gypsy Rose Blanchard drama to come.
So for a while now, I've been speaking with a source who is a friend / family member of Ryan Anderson. And this source has a lot to share about who Ryan is and what's been going on in Ryan's life as far as his support and love for Gypsy. Their relationship is quite complicated. If you're not aware, what frequently occurs with inmates who have a high profile is that they often get involved with someone on the outside who can help them handle their affairs. Frequently, this person eventually becomes a spouse. Well, one of the reasons could be because it's easier for a spouse to make deals, sign contracts, and get the inmate what he or she needs through virtue of being legally responsible for them. It's clear Gypsy was interested in getting married to someone right from the very beginning of being put in prison. I have to say, it's no surprise that she was lonely and probably desperate to find someone to have some kind of special connection with, something she really hadn't had in the past with other people in her life. We can all understand that. And yet, of course, most of us are aware that prison marriages are not the most stable relationships to get involved in. And someone that's willing to marry you while you're in prison may have some psychiatric issues of their own. We get it. And yet I understand the desperation. So Gypsy started out messing around with a multitude of men through email and letters until she found Ken. Now we all know she's been hanging out like crazy with Ken Urker, okay? He was her first fiance in jail. And I've let all of you know that the source I spoke with, who gave me a ton of information at the beginning of this saga, told me that it was Gypsy who was desperate to stay with Ken. It's Ken that broke up with her and that she was completely devastated by the situation. She wanted to continue the relationship with him. She wanted to get married. And he was the one who was out of there. But now, in the public, Gypsy is acting and has been acting like Ken was sort of a stalker. He won't leave her alone. He's coming sniffing around again, according to Gypsy in her latest docuseries. She said that she was devoted to her new husband, Ryan, and Ken was trying to mess it all up, and she wasn't going to let him do that. Funny, because only a few months later, she is deeply involved with Ken. They got matching tattoos and were seen all around NOLA. That's New Orleans, hanging out together, sightseeing, maybe partying a little bit directly before Gypsy went in to have her nose job done, okay? Christy Blanchard has been around town speaking to a lot of social media outlets, letting people know that Gypsy was going to have this nose job done. And I want to say regarding the nose job, it makes me sad because I think that Gypsy is pretty and fine just the way she's always been. Maybe that's just me, but I don't like everyone to look cookie cutter, to all look the same. I like people who are different, and her nose was like a certain form of character for her, and I liked it about her. I also understand why someone like her would want to change it once she had the money to be able to do so. Because let's be honest, I have seen countless people making fun of Gypsy's face and her nose in the media, on social media. Just fans and critics in general frequently talk about her appearance, and they will liken it to certain animals like a possum. And I understand that that would be maybe even like soul crushing for someone who already has some sensitivity about a certain body part, like your nose. But many of us are starting to feel that Gypsy is moving down the road towards trying to look more and more like a social media influencer, and maybe a very specific social media influencer, her stepsister, Mia Blanchard. But either way, Gypsy should be able to do what she wants with her appearance. That's just my opinion.
She's definitely already had work done to her teeth, and that's something they're going to be sharing in the new Lifetime show because they've been sharing sneak peeks. Here it is.
We're gonna grab your records. That's why I don't have my contacts on me, even though they're bifocals.
I had bifocals when I was like 14.
14 with bifocals.
Yeah, I'm also 32 with dentures. So. I'm an old lady. My teeth is something that I've always been really insecure about. The hospital gave me free dentures because chemotherapy and treatments like that will rot your teeth. I think I have 16 teeth left, and they're all caps, but underneath, like the cap, they shaved down the tooth, put the cap on with cement, so the teeth that I have remaining are nubs. It's one of the small little reminders of everything that I've gone through, and it would be nice to have a whole white smile someday, but I know that it's probably very expensive.
So as you could see from that clip, she had silver caps on her top row of teeth on both sides. But when she posted the car karaoke video with Ryan, you could see on her top row of teeth that she had had work done there because they're gone. And then here's another picture where you can see the whole top row. Also, I posted about this previously, but Lamar Odom offered to give Gypsy a full dental makeover for free. Now, whether she took him up on that offer is still unknown, but I'm sure we will find out when the new Lifetime show airs.
But the bigger issue is, directly before going into surgery, she turned to two important people in her life. The first is her stepmom, Christy Blanchard, and the second is her new bestie, Ken Urker, the former fiance that dumped her while she was in prison. On top of all of that, Ryan Anderson left behind in his home in Louisiana with their little dog, Pixie, whom Gypsy has admitted she left with Ryan because Pixie just liked Ryan better. Ryan seemingly is pretty depressed and sad about what's going on. Now, I know a lot of news media sources are reporting that Ryan allegedly was too controlling, mean, and maybe even a little bit abusive to Gypsy. I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised that this is the angle that Gypsy would go with. And it is possible that some of this was happening within the home, especially quote unquote being controlling. That's sort of a matter of opinion, right? According to People magazine, Gypsy is attempting to take out a restraining order on Ryan. So that's taking it pretty far.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard did not sign a prenup. That means that whatever she has, all the money that she has gained since she has been out, could potentially go half to her soon-to-be ex-husband, Ryan Anderson. What the hell was this girl thinking, and why the hell weren't her parents there to tell her what needed to be done?
When I read the information from the restraining order, it basically says that Ryan was yelling at her in such a way that she was worried he was going to physically hurt her. That's very different from actually hurting her. But I understand that she allegedly has a fear of him and thinks that the restraining order would help to protect her. But let's be honest, of course, taking out a public restraining order is also going to bring in a lot of interest, views, and just general notoriety for her upcoming TV show with A&E, which should be coming out sometime this summer. Keeping herself in the media, having all these ups and downs, spreading the drama everywhere is going to help her show be more popular. So I have to question if that's not a part of every move that she makes. All right, now here's what I really wanted to share with you. When I spoke to this person who knows Ryan on a different level than many other people I've spoken with, they assured me that Ryan does have a teaching certificate in Louisiana. And they were able to show me the school that he works at. His picture is up on the website as the special education teacher. I won't be sharing the school with you, but he is or has been working as a teacher at this school. And the big news that this source had to share with me that just made sense is that Ryan, for the past 2 years that he's known Gypsy and been involved with her, has worked exclusively on helping her get deals and set up the best possible support system with money and contracts and a book deal before she ever left prison. According to this source, Ryan was specifically heavily involved in Gypsy's book deal. If you guys remember when Gypsy was first released, she put out a book that was only available on Amazon through like Kindle. You couldn't even get a paper copy of it. And it was definitely a reach for money. I purchased the book. And a lot of what was discussed within the chapters was very simple and basic. It wasn't even that much about what happened to her in her life before she went to prison. It was heavily about her getting therapy while she was in prison and the way that she hoped to turn her life around after she left. This was the kind of book that she couldn't be sued for. Okay. In the past, many people have said, how can she make money off of these murders? Well, it's complicated, but one thing's for sure. When you write a book and you don't really talk a lot about the murders, you are most likely to be able to keep the money from it. And according to this source, Ryan was heavily involved in getting this book written, in setting up the contract, and he and his family knew and were involved with the publishing company that published the book for Gypsy. Okay? All right, for me, this kind of confirms some of the thoughts that I've had about Gypsy's relationship with Ryan. Let's be honest about what was going on here. Gypsy needed someone to help her, to set everything up for her when she finally got the opportunity to be released from prison. And from my point of view, the only two people in Gypsy's life who would be able to do this were Christy Blanchard, her stepmom, and her father, Ron, okay? From everything that I've read and talked to people about, Ron is not involved. He's never been very involved with Gypsy. He focuses on his work. Although he is there and present at times for his family, he generally takes a hands-off approach. He has not been super involved with his kids, with Christy. He's just not someone who, as a father, would come out and prepare everything for Gypsy to be released from prison. He says that he loves her. He shows up when he's able to, and if it benefits him, he will provide public support and positive words. But if it came to actually helping her set up her life outside of jail, he wasn't going to be able to do something like that. Well, what about Christy Blanchard? Okay, I'm going to have other videos coming out about this situation in the future, but here's the down low. Christy Blanchard already had a lot of problems going on before Gypsy was released from prison. The main issue with Christy is that she's highly invested in playing around, messing around, and being toxic on social media. She had gotten involved with many social media creators on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, and the results were dirty. It was messy. I've talked about it a little bit before in some of my videos. I'll be making a large video about it in the future. But unfortunately, Christy got involved with people who were doing things that did not benefit Gypsy or the cause of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And I believe that Gypsy knew this. She was heavily aware of it. I'll show some evidence of this in the future video I'm going to do specifically about Christy's role and everything. Christy used social media to build Gypsy up, to create drama that did benefit Gypsy's brand in some ways. But for Gypsy, she saw that this may not be the person who could stabilize everything for her, who could get the right who could get the right publishers, the right media managers. She recognized that something was going on where she couldn't fully trust Christy Blanchard to do all of this, in my opinion. I think that she does love Christy and see her as a good stepmother, and I'm sure we'll see some of that on the show that comes up. But I also know that she recognizes that Christy may not be able to accomplish all of the things that she wanted to do once she got out of prison.
I feel like the first time she talked about getting married with Ken, I had some serious doubts about that. He was a nice guy and all, but I don't know if he was the best fit for her.
I just think he's a dumb motherfucker.
I've met Ryan, and I feel much more confident about Ryan's demeanor and his objectives. He's goal orientated, and I think his intentions are sincere. I think he loves her. So
From the day that I got out of prison, Ken texted my stepmom. Oh, so now he wants to come around.
No.
And so I told Ryan about it. I was open, and I'm like, he's sniffing around. I don't think that he has respect for my marriage.
Well, he doesn't like me because I've called him names. Like I have, he's known as something to me.
So Gypsy was desperate. She needed to find someone on the outside to help her. Someone who was responsible, who was stable. And from what I'm hearing, Ryan was all of those things. He had his own home. He was close with his family. He had some money, and he was smart enough to be able to work out some of these contracts for her. Gypsy knew that he would be able to help her in the way that probably even Ken Urker and other men she had interacted with were not able to. And for me, I'm starting to see that this was what this relationship was all about. And even though Ryan Anderson, I believe, did love Gypsy, did want a relationship with her, I think ultimately he knew he was being used on some level as well, especially when we saw in the recent documentary that Gypsy came out and told Ryan, I need to speak to Ken before all this goes down. I hope that's okay. I hope that's okay with you. I mean, that should have set off alarm bells. I think it did, but for him, it wasn't quite alarming because he thought, whatever I can get out of this is good enough for me. Ultimately, I know that Gypsy is going to try to play this to the public like Ryan was abusive, mean, and just a bad fit for her. But I think he was a bad fit for other reasons. The main reason being that Gypsy wants to go out and sow her wild oats. She wants to have fun. She wants rock and roll. She wants danger, all these kinds of romantic things. And the stability that Ryan was able to provide was good for a month or so. But after that, he was holding her back from experiencing life the way she wants to experience it. One thing that really spoke to me about Gypsy's recent statements towards Ryan is the fact that when she spoke about their little puppy, Pixie, she made the comment that Pixie's always liked Ryan better. So I just left her with him. Okay, I want to say first, bravo to Gypsy for understanding that, a little dog doesn't need to be involved in a situation where you don't have a home to go to. I know she'll be living with her parents. I'm glad that she left the puppy with Ryan so that he could be in a more stable situation. But it also speaks volumes to me that this dog apparently liked Ryan so much. Dogs have a way of sensing what's inside of a person. And it's kind of interesting to think that Gypsy's trying to paint Ryan as this very angry, unhealthy, toxic person. And yet the animal in the house liked him more than her. I understand that that's her perspective, and maybe we'll find out more as time goes on. But I get a feeling that Gypsy is not aware of her own issues within this relationship. I don't fault Gypsy for being a user. She is a 30-something-year-old woman who hasn't really had the ability to mature outside of prison, and that's going to take some time. She is of a mentality of someone younger than her biological age, and we can all see that clearly. Yet still, most of us feel a strong frustration with the choices that she's making and the way that she's using people around her. There are so many more secrets to uncover about this story, this family, Gypsy and Ryan's marriage, and I hope that you will join me again next time as we head down yet another rabbit hole.
Y'all, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's estranged husband, Ryan Anderson, spoke out in a video.
And just want to say thank y'all for the support and the nice messages I've been getting from people. I'm at a friend's watching WrestleMania right now. It's great. I'm enjoying it. You know, I've been a wrestling nerd for a long time. But I need to shave. But, you know, I just want to thank everybody for the support. It's been great. I'm just living my life, guys. Y'all will see what really happened on Lifetime. We were filming a lot, so stay tuned for that. And I just want to thank everybody for the support. If you support me, follow me. I will post more stuff eventually. I'm just hanging in. I just want to say thank y'all to everybody, and you know, God bless.
Well, you guys, the Gypsy Rose drama continues. According to court documents obtained by People, she has filed a temporary restraining order against her estranged husband, Ryan Anderson. As we already know, on March 28th, which was exactly 3 months from the date that she got released from prison, she announced their separation on Facebook. And then she filed for divorce on April 8th. And of course, she's been spending a lot of time with her ex-fiance, Ken Urker. Although they're claiming that there's no intimacy there and they're just friends. Now, I obviously haven't seen the court documents. I don't know what she said in the restraining order, but allegedly she feared that he was going to hit her one time after they had a really big argument. She has said that he got really controlling after her release and that he had a really bad temper. He says that we'll see exactly what happened on the Lifetime documentary when it airs in June. He has also stated that he's really sad that she left him and that he didn't see it coming and it was totally out of the blue. And that he didn't realize her feelings for Ken were still so strong. A lot of people have been asking about a prenup and apparently there wasn't one.